The holdup was because I was actually waiting for these. They're Daily Dozen t-shirts and they were stuck in the mail. Hey guys, so I wanted to do a video to start the year off right, and that has to be a Daily Dozen video. And I've done these videos with you guys before. I've done the Chinese version, I've done the Japanese version, and y'all loved it. So I knew I had to bring another one back. And today I am doing a traditional Thai Daily Dozen. I actually phoned up my friends over in Thailand and I said, could you recommend something where, sure, people may have heard of it before, but I want to see what a traditional Thai breakfast, lunch, and dinner would be like. And man, did they give me a gigantic course. And I made all of them. So just to explain what the Daily Dozen is, it was created by Dr. Michael Greger, a nutritionist, author, doctor, and his team over at nutritionfacts.org. And it's basically a dozen things that you do, but mainly eat to maintain really good health. And of course, it includes like greens and vegetables and nuts and seeds and beans and legumes. So essentially what I do for my Daily Dozen videos is I do a breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And my goal is to check all of those lists off that are on the Daily Dozen so that you are actually eating healthy things during the day. I try to take out a lot of like the preservative ingredients and the sugars. However, I am using a vegan fish sauce today that does have some sugars in it. And for you guys to know is, let's say that you are on a low sodium diet. I do use soy sauce as well. Or you are on a no sugar diet. Feel free to substitute in and out for those. Do whatever works for what plan you're on. So what is on the menu today? First up for breakfast, I am making a traditional Thai pork omelette. And I do this with tempeh. It is so delicious, it is so good. And it is a really easy way to actually make any omelette that you want. You can fill it with vegetables, you can fill it with just really whatever you want as a filling. And then for lunch, I have a Thai basil pork fried rice. That was so good. And I paired it up with a tangy, flavorful papaya salad. It has all of the works of like green papaya and lime and chillies and garlic. It is amazing. And then for dinner, what I ended up doing was, traditionally you might have something like fish with rice. I did my version of vegan fish that I batter baked in chickpea flour. I paired it up with some morning glory, which is a typical green that the Thais will eat. And I also have a tom yum soup, which goes so well with fish. It's so vibrant, so flavorful, so like tangy, but also like so clean tasting. So I really think that you guys are going to like this one. So we're gonna do the Thai omelet first, and as usual, all of the recipes are gonna be down below. All of the measurements are there. I'm gonna start off with a half a cup of tempeh that I'm gonna crumble up, and I'm gonna try to get this to mimic pork. So I'm adding in a little bit of yeast extract, which is just unsalted Marmite. It is the key to getting something to taste more meaty in the vegan world. I'm gonna add in a little bit of date sugar and a little bit of salt just to balance everything out. And a good tip is if you're finding that your yeast extract is not melting, I usually add 1 to 2 tablespoons of boiling water, and that should just melt everything together. So just put that aside now and let it marinate, and we'll get to the omelet.
So this is just a basic recipe for a vegan omelet. I have some chickpea flour, some nutritional yeast, baking powder, garlic, turmeric for color. It's really easy. You just mix all of the dry ingredients together and then add in all of your wet ones. Black salt, that may be something that you guys are not too familiar with, but that is what makes eggs taste like eggs. And then the yeast is what makes kind of meat taste like meat. So because this is the Daily Dozen, I'm going to add in 2 teaspoons of flaxseed as well. You're not going to notice the difference. It's just going to help bind everything together and then actually add some flax seeds to the meal. And the trick to not getting this mixture lumpy is you just want to put in a little bit of your liquid first, whisk everything until it's nice and smooth, and then add in the rest of your liquid. Now, y'all are gonna ask, how is this Thai omelet different from just a normal omelet recipe? Well, the last 2 bits are just really a half a teaspoon of soy sauce as well as a half a teaspoon of that vegan fish sauce that I will link down below for you all. So you guys can skip this step as well, but I usually like to heat up a pan and just pour in all of the omelet. And this gets baked in a 390-degree Fahrenheit oven for right around 18 to 20 minutes. I just like to sear it a little bit to get a crust to develop on the bottom, and it also gets the mixture nice and hot and ready to puff up in the oven. Usually this omelet gets paired with some rice. I've opted for barley and a mix of cauliflower rice. So you're going to get some vegetables in there and then some whole grains. There's a side of morning glory greens, and because I don't see a lot of berries in the Thai cuisine, I've opted to make a berry and oat milk smoothie to fulfill that berry requirement. And honestly, this is the ultimate Thai breakfast. So lunch starts off with this uberly delicious tasting papaya salad, and I did a video on this before and I will link that down below. But essentially it starts off with a green papaya that I'm going to shred. And if you guys don't have green papaya, feel free to use squash, feel free to use zucchini, just something nice and crunchy. And I'm gonna do that with the papaya, some carrots, some green beans, and cherry tomatoes, and just get all of that together before I make my tangy and spicy sauce. So this dressing starts off with some garlic and some chilies. Now, if you guys like it spicy, which is not me, feel free to add more to this, but I have 3 to 4 garlic cloves as well as 2 Thai red chilies. And I'm just using a mortar and pestle, which is very traditional in Thai cuisine, and just smashing all of this up so that both the garlic and the chilies release their flavor. I'm just adding in 1.5 tablespoons of date sugar as well as 2 tablespoons of that vegan Thai fish sauce. And then finally 2 tablespoons of fresh lime. And remember to taste this because everybody likes their dressings a little bit differently. Some like it more tangy, some like it more sweet, some like it more, spicy. So adjust it according to your taste. And again, what's really special about this Thai papaya salad is that they kind of bruise up all of the vegetables as well. So we did that with the dressing. Now we're gonna add some of the vegetables from our salad and then just pound it lightly. We're not looking to grind anything. And once all of those flavors mesh together, this guy is ready to be served. Now, for the pork and holy basil stir fry, I prepared the tempeh very much like I did with the omelette, only instead of adding salt, I added a little bit of soy sauce. So recipe is all going to be down below for that. And then you just want to crush up some garlic and chilies, just like you did for the dressing before. So for this, I have 3 cloves of garlic that I just mixed with like 1 Thai red chili, but of course you can always add more. So there's not too many components to a stir fry. You obviously need a sauce. So I have a couple tablespoons of soy sauce, some date sugar, some white pepper, along with some water. And you just mix all of that together and we will add it over to the pork. And that's just how simple it is. Last thing right before we stir fry is to chop 1 cup of Thai basil. And Thai basil has a more licoricey flavor to it than just your normal Italian basil, but you can just do a rough chop because we're gonna let this wilt right in the stir fry. So you basically want to stir fry the tempeh in that chili and garlic mixture for about 2 minutes, just until it dries up a little bit and is ready to soak in all of that lovely stir fry sauce. The heat is right around medium to medium high since you don't want to burn anything. And then at this stage, I usually just turn off the heat and I throw in my Thai basil and just let that residual heat wilt all of that down, and this dish is good to go. Okay, I think that was a long time that y'all had without me. I was sort of listening to the music as well. So we're gonna start dinner off with a super yummy and tangy tom yum soup. And it's actually pretty easy. You just get all of the ingredients together. So I cut a 1/2 inch of galangal, I smashed up some lemongrass, some red chilies, and I'm gonna prepare some lime, some mushrooms, some tomatoes, and those are all going into my soup. And the reason that you kind of bruise up the herbs a little bit first is because as soon as it hits the water, it can release all of that flavor. And this soup comes together very quickly. So I'm gonna start with the herbs first. I'm gonna put in my kaffir lime leaves, my galangal, my lemongrass, and then a white onion that I chopped up. And that's because these little herbs and spices, they take a little bit longer to let out all of their flavor. I put in a piece of kombu seaweed at the end too. You can or you don't have to. It just adds a nice little base flavor. So I'm just gonna bring it up to a boil and then lower the heat and have it cook for 5 minutes. Meanwhile, I'm gonna prepare my tofu, which is essentially the protein for this dish. It functions very well in this soup. It's very clean and yummy tasting. So I'm just cubing up a box of tofu. You probably only need about 3/4 of the box anyways. Next on the cooking line comes my button mushrooms and the tofu that we just chopped up. These take just about 5 minutes to cook up, and it'll let some of the tofu absorb all of that nice flavor that we're developing. Last on the line comes my cherry tomatoes and Thai red chilies. These only take about 2 minutes to cook up, and you just add them last because they're the freshest of flavors and you don't want to cook them too long and compromise that. So after about 2 minutes, I'm going to add in a teaspoon of date sugar, 4 tablespoons of that vegan fish sauce, as well as the juice of 1 lime. And you just squeeze all of that together and make sure to give this soup a try because it's tangy, it's spicy, it's savory. You get the lemongrass, you get the kaffir lime leaves. It's really a flavor explosion. finally, it is time for the vegan fish, and I've simplified down my original vegan fish recipe to just a couple of ingredients. So you want to start off with a 1/4 cup of chickpea flour. I've put in some ground flax seeds as well. You can feel free to add your salts or whatever kind of special seasonings you have at this point. And I'm just gonna add in some water to get it into a thick paste, and then I can batter up my tofu fillets for baking. So these are my firm tofu fillets that I have cut up into fish looking like steaks. So basically I salted them a little bit first just to get in some flavor for about 15 minutes, and I put some paper towels over them as well just to get out any excess liquid. And then this is actually what makes this vegan fish taste like fish. It's very weird. It's just a piece of seaweed that you can buy at the store. Just cut it up, and that actually makes tofu taste weirdly like fish. So this goes into a 400-degree Fahrenheit oven for right around 20 minutes. If you have one of those air fryers, it works even better. It gets even crispier. Oh my gosh, that fish is so good. It's crispy on the outside. You have the tofu and the seaweed on the inside. It's just really clean tasting as well. And you pair that up with the morning glory. I have brought back some of the barley and cauliflower, as well as that tom yum soup. And a little bit of acidity from the soup goes so well with, a fish product. So these two guys go hand in hand. This meal definitely filled up a little bit more than we needed. And of course, I have those two other fruit requirements, which tomatoes may or may not be a fruit. But of course, Thailand has a ton of amazing fruits at their disposal. One of my favorites is the Thai apple. If you guys haven't tried it before or get a chance to try it, it's so delicious. It's like a different type of crunch. I'd say almost like a star fruit with kind of like pear tastes. Anyways, I hope you all have enjoyed this Thai Daily Dozen meal plan. It was definitely a lot of work. It always is, but I really enjoyed doing it. As usual, if you want to see more recipes like this, more of these types of videos, definitely hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you guys all again next time. Bye!